What the?
Appreciate y'all coming today.
Oh, that's not.
Sorry I messed the link up and everything like that, but looking forward to this conversation to provide some light on your experience as a Black athlete, Jody, and as well as your experience, Serena, as a collegiate athlete, looking to provide some perspective from some of our young viewers that we'll have and all the viewers that we'll have because we'll probably have a lot. This will be broadcasted during Sneaker Week and on some Black athlete things. But thank you guys for your time. We'll just dive right in with some conversation. So go ahead and start her off, Serena.
Mm. All right. So, what did your journey into sports look like?
So I started off when I was pretty young. Sports had always been what I'd wanted to do. From a very young age, I was always a very sporty kid. So I played a lot of sports when I was younger. Was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to play a lot of sports when I was younger. And then kind of really focused in on track when I was, I want to say like 11 years old. So yeah, it started off super young. It's always been a massive passion of mine. Started off, it's the system in the UK is a little different to the system in the US. You guys kind of, school is a massive part of your system, whereas like sports are very separate in the UK. So I started off at my local club and just kind of worked my way up the ranks. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. Had some success as a younger junior athlete and kind of kept at it.
That's cool. So wait, I have a question. It's pre-recorded. So should I just go down the list and ask questions, or like?
Yeah, but before we jump into that, how about we just introduce ourselves?
Okay.
Yeah. A good start.
That would make sense. Yeah, that would make perfect sense. Great.
Okay. Oh, am I starting?
Yeah, Serena. How about what your name is, where you go to school, sports you play.
Okay, my name's Serena Smith. I go to Humboldt State University, and then I run cross country and track and yeah.
Great. Matt, do you want to introduce Jodie? Because I know sometimes, like, that's our special guest, so I know sometimes you don't want to brag on yourself too much.
Yeah, I'll introduce Jodie, my dear friend Jodie Alicia Williams. You're a multiple-time representative of your country. Jodie Williams is the 2016 Olympian, or was it 2012?
2016.
Yeah. 2016 Olympian, a really good friend of mine. Met her in 2015. We've been close friends ever since. Followed her story a little bit before we even met. Was always kind of motivated by where she came from and her different perspectives. Not even going to college athletics, going straight from high school. Definitely glad that we met and glad that she joined in on this conversation. Come from a family of athletes, has a younger sister who's also a very good athlete and model. But yeah, someone who I care deeply about and look up to at the same time. I'm glad that we got you here on this conversation. And then I'll let you do the part where you don't brag about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jodie. From London, Great Britain. Like Matt said, had a bit of a different journey into sport. Went straight from high school into pro. Started competing for my country pretty young. It's quite common in GB to compete in like youth and junior competitions. I think more common than in the US. So that's kind of my path into professional sports.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, cool. And we're gonna slice this stuff up, so that's actually absolutely perfect. So I think we can get into it and ask some questions. And I think it's okay both ways. So if she has some questions that you want to expand on, or if you want to follow up and maybe ask her about her experience as a college student athlete, since you kind of passed that on your way to running professional.
Okay.
So I know we had some questions that Matt came up with, and also some with Serena. So I'll let Serena kind of hop in.
Like say my questions? Or
Mm-hmm.
okay. They're kind of okay. I got okay. So my first question is what are 4 things that motivate you to keep improving and achieving your goals?
4 things. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I love to build on things, and I love seeing things grow. So I think for me, keeping track of progressions and keeping track of just like I said, like progressions, how I'm improving each session. I think that definitely gives me great motivation to see that I am making those small changes. From experience, those small changes are the ones that add up. So I know if I'm seeing little things improve every day, then I'm good, and that definitely motivates me to keep going. I want to make people proud of me. So it's important for me to, the people around me and the people in my corner keep me hugely motivated. They're definitely people that I do it for. So when I'm feeling a little unmotivated or just not really feeling it that day, like thinking of those people and making them proud definitely kind of gets me up and going. I just love dedication. Like I love knowing that I'm gonna show up every day. That also gives me huge knowing that even when I'm not, on those days that you're not really feeling it, knowing that I still have the strength to get up and do it, like that gives me I like that about sport. I like what that gives you. So that one, I don't know if I have 4. I don't know. Is that enough things?
That's good. And then my second question is, when you feel like giving up and quitting, what are things that you do to keep you motivated and keep pushing through?
I think kind of similar to the things I mentioned previously. Family and my support system are definitely something that hugely keep me going. Remembering the positive moments and the moments of success and those moments of in sport, those moments that you get that you just feel like, this was all worth it. Keeping those moments in mind when I'm not really feeling it is definitely something that kind of gets me up and going when I'm just not really, like, knowing that the work that I'm putting in now and those sessions that I'm just really not into, those are the ones that give you the most and give you that little edge over other people. So I think knowing that keeps me going and knows that I'm putting something in towards that moment that I know is going to come. So,
yeah, for me, I write a quote on my leg before every race, Philippians 4:13. So whenever I'm like feeling not motivated, I like to say that scripture, and it just helps me push through times and everything. And then my question, I have a lot of overlapping questions what he had, but going to his questions, he asked a really good one that I liked. As a Black athlete, what challenges did you have to face or notice along the way that you went through or been through?
I would say the biggest thing that I noticed, and I know is quite a common theme for Black athletes, is like, it's very challenging. I know, especially competing internationally, like representing your country and being very highly revered and celebrated in that moment, and you know, doing it for your country and for those people, and you're highly celebrated in that light, and then to have to kind of come back and face the reality of how you're treated in just day-to-day life and society in comparison to that, like I find that quite I think that's quite a big challenge that a lot of, especially professional athletes, kind of have to come to terms with. But yeah, I mean, it's I would definitely say that was the biggest challenge to face. Just recently, my one of my really good friends was pulled over and just treated really incredibly disrespectfully. And I think for her, that really just highlighted, like, she's a very successful British athlete, is very highly celebrated and has been very highly celebrated. But then to then be treated, you know, in that respect, just in your day-to-day, and knowing that, you know, that's what people are really feeling, and that's how society is really seeing you, is a really just difficult adjustment, and really hard to let sit within you. So I think that's really tough.
And then going off that, I wrote down, so when you experience racism from other athletes or coaches, how do you overcome it? Or I
think for me, it's definitely feeling, I think a lot of the times when we face racism in day-to-day life and in situations where, you know, you are the minority, it feels very uncomfortable to speak up in that moment. And I think for me, it is really just learning to be like, look, that wasn't okay, and learn to speak up and address that issue. So going forward, like, you know, that's just not. I think a lot of my previous experiences, I've definitely felt very uncomfortable speaking up and letting it known that made me feel really uncomfortable. And I think that just makes you feel so much worse. Number one, being put in that position where you're facing racism, and then number two, feeling like you're letting yourself down by not feeling like you can say anything. So I think for sure it would definitely just be addressing that, letting it be known. And yeah, I mean, it's such a difficult one when you face it within your own sport, especially with coaching and things like that. Like, it's just a very uncomfortable situation. So I would definitely say just addressing it and letting your voice be known, and letting, like, that's just not running with me.
I would say as a college athlete right now, just for like me in college personally, because I'm on a cross country team, and it's mainly like school. So right now, I'm the only Black girl on the cross country team. I'll say like my experience so far is like being noticed, you know, like 100%, being noticed, like getting the, like, you work, like, I work like really hard, and then it's just like you're never like noticed and stuff. I would say like it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a very predominantly white area. So I definitely know how that feels, especially I used to run cross country when I was younger too. So I 100% relate to that. And it's definitely very difficult when you do feel like you're working that hard and not being noticed for that. But all I would say is no one can take away your hard work. No one can take away what you were doing and what you were achieving. So yeah, like, you know, you're putting in that work, and it's always going to come into fruition for sure. Like, know it in yourself that you're putting in those miles and you're putting in that work, and no one can take that away from you. So
okay. And then another question is, What have you learned about yourself along the way?
Sport has taught me an incredible amount of things. I would say when I was younger, I very much let what my achievements define me. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I don't know if you get this where like you have a bad race and it really affects you mentally. Like I was very heavily into my performances would just massively affect my mood. I would have a bad race and I would feel really bad about myself. And I think the greatest thing I've learned about that is like sport doesn't define you. Your performances don't define you, good or bad. And those good and bad performances will always come. I think a lot of the time I would let my bad performances pull me off track instead of just saying it was one bad race. It is what it is. I know what I've done, and kind of let that be a positive thing going forwards rather than it having a negative spin. It's taught me a huge amount about dedication and determination and working towards a goal. I've learned so much about just setting a large goal and then working back from that, setting little goals along the way and like learning how to achieve those things and going for them and always being dedicated to something that you truly love. Like I've gained a great amount of appreciation for that, for sure. But yeah, sport has definitely shaped me hugely as a person. It's given me a lot of confidence as well along the way, for sure.
Yeah, I would say for me, my transition going into college, it has definitely made me stronger, and then also, I feel like it made myself stronger, more confident, and also like what was it? Also it has made me to be more confident too because, and then more driven because like I had to really like I had to really figure out what my goals are and then really go about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely relate to that.
Yeah,
it definitely gives you a huge amount of confidence, for sure.
And also to like speak up to like coaches and stuff, and very shy person and I just like hold back to like speak up and stuff.
Yeah, me too. I definitely feel that. I think sport definitely helps you find, like you said, find your voice, especially if you're a naturally shy person. I think I'm very similar. Like I was a very, very shy kid. I'm still shy. I'm still kind of awkward. But yeah, it's definitely given me a lot more confidence to speak up and given me a lot more confidence in that. So I can definitely relate.
Okay. What are some of your accomplishments? That's a good question.
So like I said, I started off pretty young, so I did a lot of youth competitions. So I started off, I won World Youth 100 and 200, World Juniors 100 and silver in the 200. And then we have the Commonwealth Games. I guess it's kind of similar to like Pan Ams. So I got silver in the 200 and silver in the 200 at European Championships.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. Went to Rio as well, so that was cool.
Oh, that's
yeah. So yeah, it's definitely been a journey. It's been an experience for sure. For sure.
Okay. Okay, here's one. What would current Jodie Jodie, sorry, tell younger Jodie and other athletes who would be looking up to you? So what would you tell your younger?
I think I would tell myself kind of similar along the lines of what we've been speaking of. Like, I was a very shy kid, a very awkward kid, and I kind of felt like a lot of my decisions were made for me. And I would just say to younger Jodie, speak up. Like, your voice is valid. What you feel is valid, and what you have to say is valid. And enjoy the journey. Like, it is, I think a lot of the time I forgot to enjoy my successes or enjoy the road to those successes. I think I kind of just, I mean, you'll understand, like, with track, it's very like, okay, you do the season and then you're straight back into training, and like, you don't really have a chance to just sit in it and actually enjoy the moment. So they definitely enjoy that, enjoy the whole journey, enjoy the process, enjoy the build up to it, and enjoy the success. Like, make sure you stop and take time for that, rather than just letting it like be a continuous cycle, because you'll look back on it and it happens so quickly. And you'll look back on it and wish like you had just taken a little moment to enjoy that, and realize that this is an amazing opportunity and an amazing experience. So
okay, what's the biggest positive and negative lesson?
The biggest positive lesson I've learned would probably be I would just say, I don't know if this is really a lesson, more of a, I don't know, I just feel very fortunate that I've been able to do something that I truly love and dedicate my life to something. So few people have that opportunity. So I just feel very fortunate that I've had the opportunity to pursue what I genuinely love at the highest level. So I think, I guess gratitude. The biggest negative lesson I've learned is not everybody is in your corner. Not everybody is looking out for your best interests. A lot of people are just looking out for themselves, and you are, just part of that process for them. So be wary of who you keep close, and keep those that you keep close, super close, and treasure them. I would say
that. Okay. What's the biggest piece of advice you would give to other Black athletes? Oh my
God. The biggest advice, I guess, I think for me, it would just be like, don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to perform and show everyone what you are and what you can be. Never feel like you have to shy away or not be your true self. Like, show everyone who you are and how amazing that you can be. And don't ever feel uncomfortable or put down by your environment. Like, be you and shine out there.
That's good. I also have another question. Is there like anything you do before your meets, like traditions that you have, like you have to do it before every meet? Like,
yeah, I'm quite a superstitious person. I tend to, like, I'll plan out my day exactly the same. Like, I'll eat the same things, have the same routine. I have like a an exact playlist that I'll always listen to. Very like
Switch up the music.
huh?
You never switch up the music?
No, I have one playlist, one race routine that I've had pretty much my whole track career. So like, and it only gets updated very rarely. Like sometimes I'll hear a song, I'm like, okay, that goes on the playlist, but it's pretty much been exactly the same. And it's just like, these songs put me in a certain, just a certain frame of mind, put me in a certain place, and just, kind of transport me into that frame of mind, into that kind of almost, I don't know if I almost feel like I have an alter ego when I'm in a track meet or doing that. So that puts me into that frame of mind. So yeah, I'm very specific with all of that. I have like a very set way that I have to get into my blocks before the race and everything. Like I do the exact same routine getting into the blocks every time. And if I mess it up, I'm like, I have to start again. Like it has to be, but yeah, I definitely say my playlist is a huge part of my routine. There's very certain songs that put me into, that frame of mind and that alter ego that it's good fun.
Yeah, for me, I would say like before race day, I try not to get nervous till like before, because I'll just like stress myself out. But yeah, I usually eat the same. Like, don't eat too heavy. I listen to music, like the drill. Yeah, very clear and set forward.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. Okay, and then what has your platform allowed you to do?
I'd say the greatest thing my platform has allowed me to do is have a voice. I feel very fortunate that I have a following, and I think it gives me the opportunity to speak up about things, let people know, like just the reality of situations. I think a lot of the time there's quite a big disconnect between like sports people and, I don't want to say fans, but like the general public. Like I would like to use my platform to like bridge that, like tell people the realities of situations. Like I'm a very naturally awkward person. Like I'm awkward, I'm shy, and like I like to just, it gives me a voice for those awkward people, I feel like, or those people that haven't necessarily always fit in, or the outsider, or I think it's really given me a voice to just be like, yeah, like it's fine, like be you, do you. I think that's the greatest thing my platform has allowed me to do, is just speak up.
That's good. Okay, and then I kind of have like, I guess there's one more question on here. Where can we keep up with you and your story?
I guess Instagram is like the best platform, like, or the platform that I use the most. So it's at Jodie Alicia, JODIEALICIA. I guess that's the best place.
How's quarantine been? Or
it's interesting. It's been a weird one. Like, I don't know about you, if you've been able to train through it, or like, I think it's been kind of different for everyone. Like, sometimes I've had access to things and then it gets removed, and then like my training's been kind of all over the place. It's been okay. I've been getting by. How have you found like training and stuff during quarantine?
Right now, because I'm in Washington right now. Because like after like they canceled our season and everything, I went back from California, and then I don't know, I've just been training, like running around like my neighborhood. It hasn't been like too hard to train because I can go like to forests and like just run around, but bad. But they did cancel our season already, so kind of
Yeah,
sucks.
how did that like affect you? And
Yeah, it's going through it, but because my first year I redshirted my cross country season, and then I was about to run track, and then Corona hit. So it's just like it's been very discouraging because
yeah, for sure.
and I haven't had anything. It's just and then now our season gets canceled. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, I definitely. I think it's been mentally tough on a lot of people. I think, especially like motivation wise, like you said, like it just feels like things get cancelled and cancelled. But I think all we can do is, like you said, like it's been nice to. I don't know if you felt this, but it's been nice to get back into like doing a lot more fitness based stuff and like getting out into actual nature instead of just being stuck back all the time. For me, like it's been fun to do that. So I've definitely enjoyed that side of it.
So you said that you were down here in the US right now?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so like what can I ask why are you down here in the
So I train in the US.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I lived in Phoenix for the last 5 years, train out here. Moved out in 2015. So yeah, moved out here when I think I was 22.
Mhm.
And yeah, lived out here ever since. I'm going back pretty soon. But yeah, lived here for 5 years. So lived and trained out here for 5 years. So, yeah.
And like once you go back, like are you just gonna stay down there or are you gonna come back here?
So I mean, because of this whole situation, like there's a lot of travel bans. So I think once
Yeah.
I leave, at the moment I can't get back in. So it just depends when they like. My plan is definitely to come back.
Yeah.
Like I'm still out here. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they're gonna open stuff or open flights, borders back up in the next couple of months so that I can get back in. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Mhm. I mean, I asked most of the questions, all the questions.
Cool. I got some questions if that's cool.
Yeah, go for it.
You're putting stuff down there and I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah, I was just throwing some stuff in the chat. Because as the conversation was coming up, I was like, ooh, we can touch on this stuff. So one question I have, and this is just coming from someone who played sports as a kid and then went into professional sports. So how was that transition for you? And then what can you tell younger people about the difference between training as a prep and your work training as a pro or as an amateur and training as a pro?
I think, like I said, my journey was a little bit of a different one. I kind of went straight from high school into professional track, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, I think, it was very different. I think I didn't necessarily appreciate how difficult that transition was actually going to be. I kind of, I was young and I was kind of like, oh, this is going to be fine. Like, what difference could it possibly be? It was quite different. I think, I guess I can only relate my kind of junior athlete career to almost a collegiate career. I think they're probably kind of similar equivalents. So I kind of went from competing in a junior environment where obviously we're all young and some people are taking it more seriously than others. Some countries put more funding into things, so it's like quite an unlevel playing field almost. Some athletes are training quite professionally and some aren't. So you can see quite a big discrepancy in performances at a junior level, probably at a collegiate level as well, I would imagine. also you're very, and I think this is probably similar to the collegiate system as well, you're very well taken care of as a junior athlete. Your children, right? So like even on terms of trips and stuff, like they take care of a lot more things for you. So then you kind of get thrown out into the big bad world of professionalism, and it's not quite the same. You kind of have to figure out what your professional setup is going to look like. You're now racing adults effectively, so the playing field is very level. Everyone's a professional here, so everyone's taking it that seriously. Everyone's putting that amount of effort into it. We're all training 6 days a week, and this is our full-time job. So that playing field is now very much the same. It comes more down to a mentality thing, I think, at a professional level. So it is just a bit of I would say a mental switch for me. My advice to younger athletes would be put yourself into the right setup. Make sure you have good people around you, and yeah, aside from that, you'll be fine and enjoy the process. But it's definitely a mental switch, I would say, is the biggest thing out of anything.
Yeah, that mentality. We're going from I'm just more athletic than you are to I'm going to work harder than you do and
Exactly.
and smarter.
Yeah. That's
and more
exactly
consistently.
it. Yeah.
Another question that I have is, and I try to ask just about everybody that I interview. So I guess I can talk a little bit about me first. Is my experience when I found out that I was faster and more athletic was when I was walking home with some friends and I got chased by a Rottweiler, and I had to run, and everybody else ran into the street and jumped on cars, and the only thing in my head was to go. And I just ran until the dog stopped chasing me, and that's when they said, you got to stop playing baseball and start playing football. So what was for you, like, what was that memory when you were like, dang, I'm really good at this? Or who was the first person when you raced against that you remember just like dusting?
So it's funny, I think every athlete does have that exact moment. I remember when I was a kid I was super young, I must have been 8 or 9. We had like a school sports day. And they put us into age categories, but for some reason I was running up an age category. I don't know why. But I remember beating all of the older kids. Like I won out of everyone in the school, and I was one of the younger kids. And we then qualified for like a slightly bigger school tournament or whatever. And I went and raced against all of those kids, and I beat all of those kids by like 40 meters. And I was like, I think I might be good at this. And yeah, that's kind of where I started. Took over me from then.
Sorry, did I cut you off, Serena?
No. You're good.
How important is it to have a good team around you as a professional athlete? You were talking a little bit about, you're out in the woods, you're out on your own. So in terms of like your finances and trainers and people around you to support you, how important is it to have good people in your corner?
I think it's honestly the most important thing. It's probably one of the greatest things that I learned coming into the professional world was how important those people around you really are. If you have good people in your corner, and most importantly, good people that can work together, it makes such a big difference. Having people to help you put things into place. Yeah, and I think like, the most important thing is that team being able to work together. It makes such a big difference. If everybody in your corner is communicating properly, it makes everything run smoothly, and it makes a huge difference. That's definitely, one of the biggest lessons I learned stepping into the professional world was just finding those good people. And once you find those good people, like, hold on to them. Loyalty is a really important thing in sport. There's so little of it, I feel. It's a very dog eat dog, cutthroat world. So having those people that you know will really support you through both good and bad times is super important.
Yeah, that's key, especially when I'm thinking about your role as track. Was me, I was a football player, so you
Right.
know, I was always part of the team. So being able to lead on your team is extremely important because you're kind of out on an island.
Yeah, it's literally everything comes down to you. I think that is, again, like that's the biggest difference between individual sports and team sports. Obviously in team sports to an extent, like that team is going to take care of you. I'm sure you guys have like people in your own corner and everything, but when it's individual sport, it's literally like it's you and no one's going to take care of you apart from you. So you've got to make sure that you have those really good people around you for sure. Again, I think that's the difference between I don't know if you found this, Serena, in collegiate, like it kind of becomes more of a team sport, I think, because the college obviously looks after you. So I think that's probably a huge difference between switching from collegiate sports out into like professional individual sports. Like it becomes quite a different game to play. You have a lot more things to kind of take care of that were previously taken care of for you.
Uh-huh.
So another question is once I did some research and did a little bit of Googling on you, I saw something really cool that you did, and that I think it's every kid's dream is when you play sports, you want to be able to, you know, sign with the company, and you know, have a brand back you and be able to be the face of that brand. How was that experience for you?
It was like it was great. I mean, I was very fortunate to sign straight out of school. It's also very difficult knowing which brand to sign with. Coming straight out of school and kind of straight into that world, your brand becomes a very important part of your team. So if you don't necessarily sign with the correct brand, that can also be hugely impactful. So that took me a little time to work out, finding which brand really fit with me, and also finding a brand that will support you. I mean, to an extent, I mean, it's still sport, right? So if your performance is terrible, like you're gonna get dropped. But finding a company or a brand that's gonna represent you and stick by you to an extent, rather than being very cutthroat in what they're doing, is super important. And that took me a little while to learn, was just figuring out who is really gonna back you and who is just a sponsor. I think that's a big lesson to learn.
Yeah, I think that's a huge lesson, and especially with someone like you that is, you know, not just talented, but also speaks out and speaks their mind. So, do you feel like that there's ever any pushback or tension for you not to speak out on issues of social justice from your brand or from the sport?
I mean, I've been very fortunate with my current brand. I'm currently with Puma, and they've been very vocal. They're a very vocal company. They've supported everyone, and they've even gone as far as you know, putting our voices out even further. So when we do speak up, they very much say, hey, look, this is what they've got to say on it. So I'm very fortunate that Puma have been a very supportive company. But I've definitely had my issues in the past. I've always been I'm a very shy, outspoken person, so that it's quite difficult. So I had a lot of difficulties in the past, a little bit of pushback where I was kind of pushed into a box of I don't know. I think track is a weird sport in that it's supposed to be quite almost polite. It's seen as weird to showcase who you really are. Only in the last couple of years, it's been acceptable for track athletes particularly to show their own personality. So I think when I was younger, I felt very much like I was forced into a box where I was just supposed to smile and say what I was supposed to say. And I was supported by brands that very much push that. So I think as I've grown up and I've learned how to use my own voice, I've definitely learned to align myself with companies and brands that very much support that. But yeah, definitely in the past, I've definitely had troubles with it. And I think even as athletes, we're very often put into boxes. We're very much not encouraged to speak out on things. It's very much, I mean, the sentiment of shut up and dribble, right? Like it's just
Exactly.
do your job. You're not supposed to be crossing boundaries. And I think what people don't understand, or they're starting to understand, is athletes have huge voices and there is a huge amount of crossover. We can very much use our voices to speak up for things. And we have opinions off of the track. We're not just, money-making machines. We're not just out there to be purely for people's entertainment. So I think it's taken me time to learn that and align myself with, like I said, with brands that support that and don't take the alternative view of things.
Wow, that's dope. And now that we're speaking a little bit of the crossover, and shout out to Kuma, size 13. So what is the next step? So as we know, like sports don't really last forever, but it's a really great platform to get you to what you want to do in the long term, to your next career. So for you, what are you interested in off the track?
I love to travel. Very into coffee. Love fashion. But I'm also very interested in using my voice to speak up on things. I'd love to get involved in non-profit work or working within charities. I think for me, that's definitely my next step. I love creating communities. So yeah, I've got a couple of ideas that I'd like to explore for the future, but definitely something where I can use my voice to speak up for people that aren't necessarily being heard. Definitely want to work within some kind of non-profit organization for sure. Like I said, I love to travel, so I'd love to go abroad and do that too. But I think sport is definitely a great platform for that. It opens doors that weren't necessarily open for me before. So yeah, sport has definitely opened that up for me for sure.
Nice. Well, just so you know, whenever you're done, there's always a spot at Black Athlete. You want to join the board. Awesome. So I really thank you so much for your time. And I want to it's 3:29, so I tried to get right on the hour to give you some time. But are there any more things or topics that you want to talk about or share? Either one of you?
No, I'm good.
I think so.
Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
With
This
me?
is really dope.
Yeah.
We're gonna pass this to the people that know technology and to do what they do, and we'll try to get it on our website around, I think, next month, around August, so we can have some content for Sneaker Week. But I wasn't bullshit when I was saying, like, if you ever want to do Black Athlete or use this as your platform, or with whatever you do to help spread it, this is exactly what it's for. So thank you so much, and know this is yours as much as it is ours.
We're gonna have we'll have Audrey featured for a section in next month's sneaker week too. So that'll be dope. Both of y'all's
That would
faces.
be dope. Sure.
She'll love it. First of all. With this recording thing, I haven't pressed stop yet because I'm terrified that I'll just mess it up. But when I stop, it'll just save to the computer, right?
It should say, so you should get an email from like the U of O media or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll be able to download it or edit or whatnot. First you have to publish it, and then you'll just publish to so only you can see it. And then you download it, share it to John or whoever the content team person is, and they'll do all the magic to put like the little boxes and us in the little boxes and all that cool stuff.
All right, cool. All right, sounds good. We definitely appreciate y'all. Get out and enjoy this sun in the weather. I don't know what it's like out in. Are you in Arizona or LA right now?
I'm in LA.
In LA. All right, so get you some sun. Because I'm about to go walk around in this because you know how Portland get. It'll probably rain tomorrow. So I'll definitely give you the updates. I'll pass you the video when I get that, Dorian. And thank you, Serena. Both of y'all look nice. They look way better than I do. So appreciate y'all for doing that too. So we will talk to y'all soon.
Yeah. All right. Have a great day, y'all. Travel safe.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.